Hey everybody. So we're back for another season of not another season, another episode. Season 4, episode 51 of Love During Lockup, Secret Prison Wedding, More to Love. Okay, this episode was a mess. Like I mean, just a show called Love During Lockup. We already know it's gonna be a mess. But we start out with Justine and Michael. Okay. Justine is riding to the restaurant or whatever with her mother, who is not for the shit, and with her kids to go meet Michael's family. Right now, she had met up with them at the hotel. Okay, but Justine has yet to mention to his family that they are getting married. Um, and Michael's family is under the impression this is just going to be a run of the mill prison visit, so on and so forth. So, anyway, the two families meet up at the restaurant. Justine has a picture on the table of Michael. And to me that was just weird. It was weird like he's dead or something, like he's still alive. That's what you do when somebody has passed. Like okay, girl. The shit was weird. It's also some dumbass shit to do in front of your kids and on the television. Okay? Nevertheless, her mother's not here for the fuck shit, which is why I'm here for her mother. So Michael happens to call when they're at the restaurant, and she tells him like, look, I'm here with your family. You want to announce this? She puts him on speakerphone or whatever, and he announces that him and Justine are getting married tomorrow. The mother's like, kind of, hold up, wait a minute. She walks away. Um, Takes a break. I mean, I think it was just overwhelming for her. One, her son's in prison. Two, he's getting married to somebody that they don't really know well yet, or have seen them together. So the mother was pretty emotional. Justine's mother was supportive. I mean, honestly, we all know all this shit is going to end up a hot mess. But okay, Justine, you continue making those decisions. Anyway, so we get to oh God, Ty and Hottie. I really should leave Ty for last, but Ty is just kind of like she's worth the read. So anyway, Ty says she's planning her wedding because Hottie proposed to her supposedly on one knee behind the phone, and we don't have any proof of that. She says she is still talking to other inmates. Okay. But since her engagement, she hasn't added any new men to her roster, so that is being faithful. Okay, let me tell you, Ty girl, people like Ty. You are not running the motherfucking game. Like, you not running the pimp game. You not running, oh, I got him. He got me. Yeah, I'm playing him. When you're the one that is putting money on somebody's books, no, they're playing you. Okay, so you having all these men, they aren't simply calling you. They're calling you and asking for things, which we'll get to in a moment. All right. So anyway, but she says that's being faithful. That is some bird logic. But anyway, she meets her friend Brittany at the wedding dress store, and her friend has, she's apparently been her friend for a long time, but she says she's a Debbie Downer because her friend Brittany wants her to be with a man in the free world. Girl, let me tell you something. I hope Brittany stay your friend because she a good one, because I cannot hang around nobody like you. And I'm going to need for you to understand that Brittany is actually doing you a serious favor by being a true friend and telling you the damn truth, okay? Girl, bye. So, Heidi also, lest we forget, has another 5 years in jail. Brittany was right to ask, what the fuck is the rush? She didn't say that, but what the fuck is the rush, okay? Anyway, so she talks about, oh, I would love to have my dream wedding, this and the other, but more than likely it's gonna be in the cafeteria. I said, oh my gosh, Ty, at 39, girl, you gotta do better. I mean, when I say do better, I'm not simply talking about choosing somebody. No, you as an individual, do better, girl. Okay, anyway, so she tries on this this black dress because she's not a very traditional person. She was like, I'm a mortician. I was like, well, you going to a wedding, not a funeral, but okay. I thought the dress was actually nice, but her friend Brittany looks at her and goes, girl, that dress is ugly. And all of a sudden, Ty starts crying, which I really didn't see going either. I didn't think it was a bad dress. But your friends will tell you stuff. So I thought she was crying because her friend Brittany called the dress ugly, but she starts crying, and so instead of her saying like, "Oh, Brittany, you hurt my feelings," which is what I was expecting, she goes, "I don't like how big my arms feel. Look in this dress. I don't like the way it looks." And honestly, as a big girl, I know that feeling. It doesn't feel good, especially. I mean, and you can know in your mind all the things in the world, like you should love yourself, be body positive, but it's very difficult when you live in a society that basically, in the words of Brittany Cooper, hates fat people. And that can be difficult. I mean, she's not fat, but I'm saying in terms of what women are supposed to look like. And then black women are built differently. Like, I know the feeling. That's all I'm saying. All right. Then she gets a call. She was like, okay, well, answer it. Brittany's like, well, answer it. He may be able to make you feel better. I think Brittany was under the impression that the phone call must be coming from Hottie because she didn't want to see her friend cry. She gets a call. Hell, I thought it was Hottie until WeTV let us know it's BB, boyfriend number two, as she is trying on her wedding dress for her fiance, who's going to be in jail for 5 years even after they get married. Girl, and BB, this ninja is asking for bread on his books. He said, I thought you said you were gonna put some bread on my books. And she was like, I'm gonna do it today. And he was like, oh, what you doing? She was like, I'm shopping. He was like, shopping for what? She was like, I think she said something like stuff generally. And Brittany, I think, was probably everybody watching the show. Like, why are you doing this for him? He's calling asking for money. He's not offering you any support. He's not being a friend. That's what I mean. Ty, you're not running a game. They're running a game on you, and you got kids. How how can you reappropriate this money? Like, I just can't. I can't. And like Brittany's like, why are you doing this for him? She was like, this is just my friend. Um, then they get her friend by herself, and she's like, first of all, I don't think she's crying over the dress. I think these are tears of regret. These are tears of basically she not sure what she should be doing. Then we get introduced to Ty's father, Lucius, and I think Ty said she grew up in the foster system, so I don't. And her father looks relatively young, so I don't know if they had a relationship later or whatever. But Lucius not here for it either. So he calls her out and says, "Why are you getting married?" He's looking at her wall with all these pictures of these different men. First of all, I'm embarrassed that you would even show your father something like that. But anyway, why are you getting married if you still care about all these men? And she was like, whatever. She gave him some bullshit excuse. And he was like, no, you're not ready to get married. And she asked him, she was like, do you like my ring? Do you like my ring? He says, yeah. That $12 in prison will get you. I said, oh my gosh. Ty, at least you have some people who don't think like you in your corner, because trust me, you need it. So she says, get out. He says, okay. That was like one of those short clips like during the commercials. So anyway, she goes to visit her homegirl in the studio who's supposed to be an up and coming rap artist. Honestly, it didn't sound bad. It didn't sound terribly different from anything else I've heard, but it didn't sound bad. She sits her friend down. She sends the engineer, ask, can you excuse us or whatever. And she says she was talking to Hottie on the phone. They're talking about music. Apparently Buffalo, New York is apparently a small place. I mean, even smaller than I thought. Because she was talking to Hottie about music. What the fuck can Hottie teach her about music? Two, you taking a prison call from this man? This man. And then you up here. It's your friend's boyfriend, fiance. I just find that weird for her to be a close friend having conversations with him. But I don't know. Just something about that wasn't right. And she was like, yeah, girl. She was like, I'm engaged. She did the little thing again. And she was like, he's engaged to a girl named Boston. He did mention being engaged, but not to you. And Ty, gets upset. She about ready to go hard. Ty, first of all, you have like 15 men on this so-called roster. Hottie, you fighting a young girl over this? A young woman, but she's still young. Like, why are you fighting over a man in jail? Girl, bye. Hot, Todd, get your, I mean, when I say get your life together, I mean really get your life together. So then we get Jessica and Dustin. I don't know if I don't remember knowing much about Jessica last episode. So maybe they just introduced her. Jessica's 44, Dustin is 27. Right. So Jessica calls herself a frat boy with tits. There isn't a better way to describe yourself, ma'am. Okay. So she's a nurse in prisons and jails. Or she was. She met a prisoner while at work. They have a 16-year age difference, and his name is Dustin. She says people call her a MILF. Who are these people, darling? Okay, so she quit her job for him because you can get into a lot of trouble being in a relationship with an inmate when you are there as a nurse. Conflict of interest, it's rules of the work. So she quits the job for a 27-year-old convict. Right. Okay, so she says Dustin wants to get married. The friend is like, I don't think Dustin is trustworthy. They're sitting out there on the beach, and the friend is just like, why? Why would you think he can go into jail and come out and all of a sudden he's gonna be no, everybody has to get on their feet or whatever. She's like, yeah, true. And she's just sitting up there looking, why are you so crazy? Then she goes shopping for her ring, for her engagement ring. All right, that she's paying for. So the jeweler, of course, his job is just to sell rings. He says, oh, okay. Is your boyfriend or whatever gonna come in and pay for it? And she says, no, because he's in prison. So you're buying your own ring for a man in prison. And the chances of him having a job when he comes out are like none. And then he's going to have to work hard to find one. She said, well, I guess a ring would be easier because I just had to have a tattoo for him. I'm like, did he ask you to do that? And even if he did, why didn't you say no? Why would you put that over yourself? Like, Jessica, like some of these people, I just don't get it. I just don't. I'm not a tattoo person anyway. It's just the idea of permanency and commitment to it. I mean, I imagine somebody having a chrysanthemum or a rose. That's different. I mean, I've never gotten one, but I'm just saying, like, whatever. But like somebody's name that's not like your daughter or your mother. You know what I mean? Like, that is weird to me. Yeah, a ring would be easier, hon. And a ring you can get rid of in a way. A tattoo is going to take a whole lot more time, a whole lot more doctors, and a whole lot more money. Next. So Bailey, her daughter, who's about 18, starts asking, what are you going to do when he goes back to jail? She doesn't ask when he gets out of jail. When that girl said that, I was done. She said, what are you going to do when he goes back to jail? And she was like, he's not going to go back to jail. He's going to do this, that, and the other. And the daughter is sitting there like, are you kidding me? So the daughter is irritated that she's moving to Tennessee. And she thinks her mom is moving too fast. And she was like, well, you're going to finish school. You're homeschooled. It's not like you can do school anywhere. Okay. Yeah. 2, I'm trying to figure out how she's homeschooled. If you're a nurse, who's homeschooling her? She's graduating in August from high school. That does seem very weird in terms of timeliness. 3, homeschool and online school, I need you to make a distinction, a difference, because I need to know what's happening. And you think just because it's homeschool, it won't be disruptive to her to be in a home with a man that is 16 years younger than you, who's closer in age to her than he is to you. She doesn't know him, and he just came out of jail. Like, people just need to make better decisions. But this whole show is based on bad decisions. Anyway, so we get Chelsea and Mikey. And once again, Chelsea, uses sign language. She's mute. She's upset, right? But we're getting that explanation through subtitles, of course. And she's late to work. And her friend, who's also mute, or her friend or whoever, she works together. And she's like, why are you late? Like, basically, she had been doing all that work by herself. And, somebody's kind of your homegirl. You don't want to tell on them at work. But at the same time, if y'all doing stuff like cleaning hotels, and people can be nasty. They don't hardly want to leave a tip. Like when I leave a hotel, like I leave money on the counter, for maids or whatever. Anyway, so she's telling her why she's late and why she's upset. And she says that Mike's sister says he may have had a mini stroke. He may have had a mini stroke. That's awfully specific for something you may have had. Child bye. They say that she may not be here. Well, her sister tells Chelsea that she may not hear from Mike for a while. The friend says that in sign language was like, that text is bullshit. And she thinks he's catfishing. And Chelsea basically says, fuck your judgment. I don't need her judgment. Chelsea, actually, you do, hon. That text doesn't sound right. It doesn't make sense. He probably has somebody else. His sister is trying to spare you per his request, I'm sure. And it's just sad. It's just, like I said, I just feel like, I don't know. I don't like the fact that this show is exploiting Chelsea. And yes, people sign up, but I just think, anyway. So, Jeremy and Sinceria. Jeremy claims he's a chameleon because he's done a lot of jobs. No, you're not a chameleon. A chameleon is a reptile who can blend in with their surroundings. Jeremy, you stick out like a sore thumb, like a lame, like a loser. Period. He's a lame. He looks weird. He gives like that weird look that you. Anyway, he has a friend from prison who is giving him advice. Honestly, your friend from prison, I can't see. He was like, well, we know each other from different events and this sort of thing in Las Vegas. Yeah, your so-called friend is probably trying to find a way to scam you right now. You up here on TV telling people you make $600,000 a year, and trust me, some ex-con that knows the game, don't worry, he'll be on your money too soon enough. So he keeps a spreadsheet, Jeremy. Okay, he keeps a spreadsheet for all the women he's dating in prison, so he can keep up with it. And I'm like, first of all, whoever you're dating in prison, you're not the only one. And the fact, I think people really, when I think about, although thinking is not a premier aspect of the show, the fact that a lot of people, well, these people are willing to date somebody in prison, I think it's because they know where this person is. And there's something about their insecurities that are nourished by knowing that they can't go other places to be with somebody of the opposite sex, as if people don't engage in same-sex relationships with, for whatever reason, that's their business. Or that they cannot communicate with somebody of the opposite sex the same way they're communicating with you. Like, but I feel like that's part of their insecurity or whatever. Okay, so, the woman he's dating, Sinceria, is in jail because she shot up her grandmother's house. And he's like, well, she didn't kill anybody. She shot up furniture and stuff. So? And Sinceria looks very, very, very young. Okay? So, Jeremy looks young in a general sense, but she looks very young. And something about that don't seem right. And I honestly hope we don't see Jeremy no more for the rest of the season. Anyway, then we get Melissa and Louie. Melissa. You are like, what's her name? What was her name? You're like Jessica. You have a lot of good people in your corner looking out for you, and you continue to make bad decisions. So she takes the damn WeTV camera crew to her high school. What the fuck? Melissa is like in her fucking 40s. And it seems like the peak of her life was in high school. And this crush she had on a boy that was a few years older than her, girl. And I'm thinking to myself, what has she done with her life? That she's still stuck mentally in high school as this great time or not so great time, but she wants to fix it. Anyway, so she's in front of then all of a sudden she's in front of his house from 20 years ago. And she calls him on the phone and tells him like, hey, guess what? I'm in front of your house. And he was like, okay, like the mother doesn't know her. And he says, well, you should tell my mom. So the mom is like, short. This is a short, long story. Like, why are you in front of our house? Like, what are you doing? So the mom's not here for the bullshit, and so she asks, "Look, well, I really want to meet you." Melissa's asking, I really want to meet you, and the mother goes, "Did my son warn you about me?" Yeah, he warned you about this Italian mother. I said, "Oh shit." So she wants to know when she plans to go to Georgia, and she says, "Okay, well, we'll figure something out." All right. So the mom's over. All right, so she meets her sisters to talk about going to Georgia. They're in Jersey, I think. Her sisters, Melissa, where did you mess up? Because y'all all look alike. Y'all were raised together, and trust me, I understand. You can be raised in the same house and be very different. But your sisters are just not here for the fuck shit. Her sisters were like, "You're desperate for love." Now, I'm not talking about just in the confessionals. They telling her this to her face. You're desperate for love. That he says he's going to come out and fix himself. Do you really believe that? um, she already works two jobs to take care of herself, which is fine. People got to do what they got to do. I'm not judging her for that at all. But I think her sister's point is you're already doing it to take care of yourself. Now you're going to take on another man who is not going to come out with money, is going to need things, and you're already working two jobs, and the chances and likelihood of him finding a job and a decent job to even just be able to take care of himself is it's a stretch right now. It's just a stretch. Um, so she says, "So you're going to Georgia? How are you getting there?" Her sister, and she was like, he's gonna pay for it." And the other sister was like, "Well, basically, how?" She was like, "Well, he's gonna figure out how to pay for the travel." She was like, stop lying, Melissa. You paying for your ticket? He ain't got no money. Next, so they were like, the confessionals, like when they get them by themselves, it was like she dates losers. She has a pattern of doing that. She always wants to fix people, and that's not anything that other women haven't tried to do. Um, but the difference is, ma'am, you're doing it in front of a camera. You're doing this after a series of patterns. You're in your 40s. We want you. I want you to do better. They tell her she's wasting her time. And all of these people that are like the stars of these shows have like family and friends who are keeping it all the way real with them, and they still not getting it. I'm like, all these seasons of Life After Lockup, and you see how bad this goes. Like, why? Like, I just want to know the end game, because it's not love, Ty. It can't be all the men you keep on your so-called roster. Anyway, so that was Love During Lockup, Secret Prison Wedding. Now, we are we gonna be able to see the wedding a little bit? But I guess you can't because it's anyway, I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.